twice on the evening news for her work saving the beavers of Lake Turpin from drowning traps, once at 5.5 and then again at 6.5. Once
Didn't learn the first time.
they did. Once so far in our local Fredericksburg paper, and she was the cover story. Shakespeare camp at the prestigious William and Mary, where she was cast as Eleanor, the lead in Much Ado About Nothing, on a Monday and performed the entire show on a Friday. 4, I think, homeschool theater troupe shows, including the lead role in The Little Princess, which required a British accent. 5 sessions of teen leadership camps at the very rigorous Patrick Henry College for debate, literature and history, entrepreneurship and economics, strategic intelligence, and most recently, leadership and worldview, where she won a leadership award. She's acquired at least 3 college French credits. We actually find out tomorrow if it's 6 when she gets her results, covering both language and culture. She's a member of the French Honor Society and has traveled to France twice, and this is why I've provided her with a French honor cord. We have incubated and raised tadpoles, ants, monarch butterflies, ducks, and chickens, and gardened herbs, strawberries, tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, squash, melons, apples, peaches, sweet potatoes, asparagus, and too many other things to mention. I went deep. At 13, she attended the Natural Leaders Program at Stafford Civil War Park as the only girl. It rained every day, some days very heavily, and yet she learned fire making, shelter building, knife skills, carving, foraging and outdoor cooking, and outdoor safety. As you may know, she wrote and recorded the beautiful song Cherry Lane with her dad. As her Uncle Ollie would say, it is climbing the charts in Japan. But did you know that she was also part of a blockbuster pop band called the Good Girls on the Block?
Yeah.
Yes. She played various percussion instruments in Silly Norm and the Fun Bunch. She also had a cameo as Lil Abs in the Storm and Norman Band's hit song Having a Good Time. And you can ask us to see videos of any of that. She has starred in 2 YouTube shows. She was the original star and host of Heroes of History, and the short-run Abby's Healthy Kitty Cooking Show. She also had a recurring guest role on Full On Frank. And I guess I should mention that she was part of the founding class of the Author Conservatory, has published 1 short story, and completed 3 novels, one of which is currently receiving incredible interest from a renowned literary agent. I could list achievements for quite some time, but I really want to just leave you with 2 brief stories, I promise brief, that I think will give a picture of who Abby is and why I know her future is so bright. When Abby was younger, she participated in the CrossFit Kids Open. If you're not familiar with the CrossFit Games Open, it's a period, at this point it was 5 weeks long, when all of adult CrossFitdom competes the same workouts, some hoping to make it to regionals and ultimately the CrossFit Games. It's hugely important in the CrossFit community, and almost everyone participates regardless of skill level. And our gym did the open workouts together every Friday night and included a kids division. So that's our setup. In March of 2017, Abby had just turned 11 years old, but bless her, she was the tiniest little thing and looked at least 2 to 3 years younger. It was the 3rd week of the Open, and the workout was rounds of chest to bar pull-ups and full snatches. A snatch is an Olympic weightlifting move, requires pulling a barbell from the ground in a wide grip, pulling it over your head whilst catching it in a full squat with extended arms and standing it up. In classic CrossFit fashion, the better you succeed, the more time was added to your workout and the weight was increased. So, round after round, God bless you, round after round, she landed her snatches. So many that not only were her fellow CrossFit kids eliminated, but the adult athletes had done all they could do as well. So all eyes in the gym are on Abby, 60-pound Abby. And her snatch weight at this point, again, after doing chest to bar pull-ups, is 30 pounds, half her body weight. And with a full audience, she fails. And It's painful for a poor judge who has to call it, and it's painful for all of us watching. But there's still time on the clock, so she has time to try again. And she fails. And if you haven't lifted heavy weight, let me tell you, whether you nail it or not, it's really exhausting. And Abby shakes it off, and she sets up again, and we're all cheering like mad. She takes a deep breath, and she scarecrows with all her might. She drops under it, and she stands up. Yes! We're all going crazy. No rep, because she pressed it out. And the judge had tears in her eyes, this poor girl. And the cheering turns to groans and murmurs of sympathy. And here's the thing. Abby gave everyone, a crowd like this, a big smile, and she sat up again. And she took a deep breath again. And it almost doesn't matter what happens next, because how amazing is that? But she nailed it. And everyone exploded and hugged each other and wiped away tears. And while we were still making noise, she saw there was time on the clock, and so she sat up again. And she did it again. Now, there was no chance that there was enough time to go to the next round, thank God. But there was time to go for one more, and she did. So please believe me when I say there wasn't a dry eye in the place. As one of Abby's favorite guys, Will Shakespeare, wrote, "Though she be but little, she is fierce." Also of note, since I just was searching for pictures backing up this story, I noticed that she was wearing her young, scrappy, and hungry Hamilton shirt when she did that. My second story is from a couple years earlier. Abby was 9, and we had taken a road trip to attend homeschool day at Henricus. And if you're not from Virginia, or even if you are and you don't know this, Henricus was the second established settlement here in the good old colony of Virginia, and they're pretty bitter about always being overshadowed by Jamestown. So we went to homeschool day there, and it was about a two-hour drive home. And Abby didn't have a phone or a tablet, and our car didn't have a DVD player. So after we briefly chatted about our day, the car fell silent, and I figured she had fallen asleep after a long, hot day on the James River. But as we neared home, and I started to, I thought, wake her, I found she was very much awake, wide-eyed and gazing out the window. And she said, "I can't believe we're home already. I was telling myself the best story." So it was no surprise to me when this imaginative, creative, expressive girl continued to take an interest in and excel at creating stories. I think of that day as a gift, and actually, I truly think of every day we've been able to learn and live together as a gift. I'm about done, but I want to beg just another 2 minutes to speak right to our graduate. Abigail, my prayer has been for you to be not just educated, but wise, remembering that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and that you would be not just nice or socialized, but kind, never letting kindness and truth leave you, as the Bible says, binding them around your neck and writing them on the tablet of your heart. And for you to be not just a rememberer of facts, but someone who seeks to understand, doesn't fear changing her mind or opinion, and never stops learning. Again, as Scripture says, that you would discern righteousness and justice and equity in every good course. And I'm filled with thankfulness that God has answered and continues to answer those prayers. While I may say these years of homeschooling went too fast, I won't say I don't know where they went. I know exactly where, because I was blessed enough to be beside you each step of the way, and that has been the joy of my life. And so as we close this chapter, here's what I hope you'll take with. Even if you're not carrying with you a flawless knowledge of upper algebra, and now I can tell you what all of us know, you are never going to use it. Do take with you the discipline and perseverance it took to get it finished. Even if you're a little fuzzy on actual dates in periods of history, take with you both the big lessons of the past and the joy and laughter we shared as we built that timeline project, which I hope is in a museum someday. And it's okay if not all of those science units stuck with you, but treasure and keep how studying them filled us with wonder and awe at God's incredible creation. Keep the inside jokes, the beautiful literature we've read together, all the trips we've taken, the shows we've seen. Take with you the confidence that you are ready and prepared to take on whatever is ahead of you as you forge your own path. Finally, stay fierce, my little friend. And keep dreaming up and telling your wonderful stories to the world. Abigail Lynn Voss, it is my honor to confer on you the title of high school graduate and give you this well-earned diploma.
Oh, it's unfair that Mom chose to go first. One second. Do I have mascara running? No. Okay, great. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. I was not as prepared as Mom, so I did not print mine out. I have it on my phone. So give me 1 second. Well, because I'm valedictorian, I get to give a speech. And like Mom said, and it's funny, we did not know each other's speeches beforehand, but because we are the same person, we both touched on many of the same things. But thank you all again, as Mom said, for coming and for braving the heat. It truly means so much, and it was so surreal to be able to see everybody coming up the stairs and see all people that have touched so many areas of my life. So just thank you all, not only for coming, but for how you've invested in me, for how you've poured into me, for how you've supported me even when maybe my high school career and my conservatory experience might seem a little bit, different. You guys have always believed in me and supported me, and it really means a lot. So, before I get into any emotional things, although we've kind of already gotten into that, I have a few things that I want to say about my schooling journey. And as a quick recap, although I think everybody here is caught up, but I wrote it down, so I'm going to say it, is that I have been homeschooled since 2nd grade and getting to learn with the most amazing teacher in the world. And then in 2020, I was accepted into the Author Conservatory, which is a college alternative program for authors that teaches not only the writing skills of having an author career, but also the business skills. And I hope that some of you maybe were able to watch the Author Conservatory graduation that happened a few years ago, and if you were, you heard from... Did I say a few years ago? Yeah. Okay, so that's where my brain's going. A few weeks ago, and we're able to hear from the just kind and experienced people that have taught me these skills over the past 4 years. And then in 2021, I began working for the conservatory as a community assistant, which is somewhat like an RA for an online community. And since then, I have been promoted to the student success manager, and after graduation, my role will continue to grow, which I'm so excited about, and the program is continuing to grow. So if you've heard me talk about it at all, you know how much I believe in how the conservatory is investing in their students. And so then comes the big question, what am I doing after high school? And so many of you have probably already heard my memorized spiel, but in case anybody missed it, I'm going to give a quick overview. That just to say that after high school, I will be continuing to work for the conservatory, while also working on my full-length novels and pitching those to literary agents, and literary agents represent authors to publishers. And so currently, Mom mentioned this, but there's a literary agent that's very interested in working with me, and so I'll be meeting with him at a conference in 2 weeks, which is very exciting. Yes, and there are so many other little details that I could share, but instead, I want to talk about how my learning experience has impacted me and how I would not be able to have this plan without the ways that I've been taught. And I promise that I won't talk for hours, so I've narrowed it down just to 3 main impacts that I want to talk about. And so the first one that I want to talk about is embracing the unconventional. My journey has definitely been unconventional, and not only is homeschooling in general a bit outside the box, but the way that we've homeschooled has been special too. Mom mentioned this, but we've schooled in a way that has really allowed me to learn through life. Yes, I did take classes, but the richest lessons have come from outside the classroom. Grocery shopping, field trips, CrossFit workouts, Facebook Live, Color Street sales, and just having mom and dad's friends over and getting to be in the room as they talk. I have learned financial skills, fitness skills, entrepreneurial skills, and just adult skills from getting to live life with my family. And not only can that be a bit unconventional, but let's be honest, the Author Conservatory, a college alternative for writers, really? But mom and dad didn't see it that way, and after talking to the founder of the conservatory, Brett Harris, they both encouraged me to join, and they have never stopped supporting me since then. Without their support of the unconventional, I would not be where I am now, with a short story anthology published and just 4 copies away from reaching 1,000 copies sold, just saying. With a steady and growing job where I get to learn so many new skills and really test my strengths, and with a literary agent interested in representing me in my novels. The unconventional has gotten me to where I am, and they have been the greatest supporters of that. The second impact on my life has been fostering a love of learning. My classes are done now, but the learning is not. Just like last week, like Mom mentioned, I was at Patrick Henry College for 2 weeks of their teen leadership camp, and this is my 3rd year going to those camps. The first year I chose debate camp, and I had never done any sort of formal debate before, and all of the kids there were experienced debaters, and it was very terrifying, but it was so worth it, and I learned so many important skills. And then this year, my last year of camps, I decided to try their strategic intelligence camp, which is basically a fancy name for spy camp. And do I ever see myself going into strategic intelligence? No, I do not. Unless God really changes something up.
Not that you could tell us if you were.
Yeah, not that I'd have to kill you if I told you though. But did I want to learn about it? Absolutely. And each year of camps, I chose topics because I wanted to learn about them, not because they would further my career or look good on the transcript, but just because I wanted to learn. And now leaving high school behind, that desire is still there. Because of the way Mom taught me, I do not view learning as something to avoid, but as something to seek out. And that's what my whole family has modeled for me. Mom learned just alongside me as she taught me. Dad is constantly finding new facts about the history of Fredericksburg, so if you have questions, you can. And Noah is always seeking out the next place to travel and researching very in-depth all of the facts about the place.
Learned so much from his Instagram.
Yes, we learned so much from his Instagram. One of my favorite things about my job with the conservatory is that as my role continues to expand, I continue to get to learn new skills about managing a team, working with customers, and building out processes. And the life of an author is constantly learning new things, whether that be researching for a new book or learning about new industry trends, because publishing is annoyingly always changing. And so, especially because learning is so important in my career path, I'm so grateful to Mom that I find that exciting and not daunting. And then I have my third major impact, last one guys, not being afraid of change. And that might be putting it a little too strongly because, I still don't love change, but I'm not trying to avoid it at all costs. Every year of homeschooling, people would always ask, what curriculum are you using, or even are you going to continue homeschooling the next year? And we'd always say, we're taking it year by year. And that wasn't because we didn't have a plan. We are Voss girls. Of course, we have plans. But because we wanted to be flexible if something changed. And so if a curriculum wasn't working for us, we would find a new one. Or if a schedule didn't actually help us reach our goals, we'd change it. We were always willing to change if our needs called for it. And so now, I have that same mindset. And I know when I talk about my plan after high school, I sound, like I have it all figured out and really sure this is what I'm doing, no backup plan. But the thing is, if something were to change with my plans, I would be just fine. And I know there are other options, and I'm not afraid to find new routes if something unexpected comes up. I can adapt because Mom and I have been doing that already as we continue to find what works for us. So, like I said, just 3 impacts. 1, embracing the unconventional. 2, loving to learn. And 3, being willing to change. These mindsets have shaped me and are shaping my future. And so lastly, just have a couple of thank yous. First, thank you, all of you guys, for coming, and just for being a part of my life, like you said. If you were, or like not like you said, like I said. If you were at my lunch party for the anthology, then you heard me talk about how writing is not a solitary career. Being an author means you need to have a whole community around you to support you, and that's not just the case with being an author. That is just being a young adult. You need to have a community around you, and you guys are my community, so thank you. I especially want to thank just all of my family that came. Mom mentioned many people, or not many people, 2 people drove from Florida. Just, it really means so much to me, and also including people that I consider my found family. The Jaggers, even though they're not here, and the Beers, and the Wards, and the Potters and the Watts, who I got to grow up right next to. You guys have seen me through so much of life and always love and support me, and so I love you guys endlessly. I also want to give a special thank you to 2 women that aren't here. For my graduation, Mom gave me this watch and this necklace. And this watch was something that her parents gave to her at her high school graduation. And I never got to meet my grandmother on my mom's side, so it means so much to get to wear something that is connected to her. And then I'm also wearing this ring and these earrings, which are from my dad's mom, my Omi. And I know any of the Voss cousins can attest to that Omi gave us so much. She has blessed me in more ways. Oh, everyone needs an Omi. She has blessed me in more ways than I can count, and always asked about my writing, even if she sometimes thought it was a little too sad. Going through all of these big milestones without her is really hard, but I know that she would be so excited for me. So, finally, I just have my core 4. Thank you to Noah. Like Mom mentioned, he flew out here from his road trip, and this is not the first time that he has shortened a trip to come to an important event for me. So, and those other trips were like in Europe, so it's even bigger sacrifice. It is so special to have a brother that I know is just as proud of me as I am of him. And any of my friends can tell you that I get so excited when I get to talk about whatever trip you're going on, or what's the latest impressive thing you've done, because I am just so proud of you and so honored to have you as a brother. And I know that you do the same for me, sharing about my writing and cheering me on. God is so good to give me you as my brother, and I can't wait to go on more adventures with you next year.
Going to France.
Yeah! Next, thank you to Dad, who's currently behind the camera. Thank you for just practically making a way that Mom and I could homeschool. You worked so hard to allow us all of the blessings that we have, and I'm so grateful. So many jobs, and so many late nights, and so I appreciate it. But beyond all that, thank you for teaching me to love others well and to step outside my comfort zone. I think a lot of the Fredericksburg people are here because they met you around town and you just talked to them and were like, hey, what's your name? And it's created so many amazing people getting to be here. Thank you for waiting for all the crowds to pass as we filmed our Heroes of History videos, and for always being the first reader of my stories, and for encouraging me to do what scares me. I love you so much.
Love you.
And finally, my teacher and my best friend, but my mom, most importantly. I desperately wish we recorded all of our afternoon school sessions and can play them now to show everyone what hilarious comedians we are. And the amount of fun we had talking about Walter Raleigh and mitochondria and free markets and everything in between. Those 3 impacts I talked about are from you. Thank you for including me in everything and allowing me to learn by watching you. Thank you for always prioritizing my health and love of learning over any arbitrary standard. Thank you for always being honest with me so that I know when you say you believe in me, you really mean it. And thank you, most importantly, for always reminding me to put my shoulders back and not touch my face. Number 1. I am so excited to enter this new season of life with my bestie right across the hall and to have even more conversations about anything and everything. And so I have a little gift for you. And I am sad to say that this was not an original idea. Somebody might have mentioned to me that they would like this. But I will have her open it and then I will explain the gift. Yes. I think you might know what it is too.
It feels like it.
So, of course. So this is a book from Riverby Books, which is downtown. It is a French Bible from 1836, I want to say. And so the more I thought about it, I thought it was so perfect because not only has Mom instilled in me a love of literature, but she has also instilled in me a love of the Lord. So that was very fitting. But also a love of history, and so having something antique is so perfect. And then lastly, I have been learning French for many years, and then after we went to France, Mom began to learn French herself. So now we can go through and try to translate it.
Yes. Yes. How hard could it be?
It's easy. Yeah. Those people in 1836 had really good eyes. That text is tiny.
Yeah. Like this text.
Yeah. Yep. So, lastly, I just want to say thank you to the Lord. I am blessed beyond measure to have the family that I have and to have parents who have constantly directed me towards the Lord and encouraged me to foster my own relationship with Him. I am so excited for this next season and confident in it because I know that the Lord is holding it. And I'm so grateful that I get to follow Him. So, thank you all so much for coming. I love you all. Or, je vous aime en français.